chat and the LinkedIn profile so people can find you on LinkedIn. So go ahead and put your name in the chat, put your LinkedIn profile, tell us about yourself as well. And I'd like to say hello to Laura Smiling Light, and she's our keynote speaker today.
Hello, everyone.
Laura, did you send me your slides?
Do you want me to email them or do you want me to share here?
Well, it doesn't look like we've got the option to do that.
Yeah, let me email it.
Hello to you smiling faces that I see. We have people from several different countries today and several different time zones. So I appreciate you staying up late to be able to connect up with us. And Laura, I'm going to look into the chat right now. And meanwhile, I encourage all of you to check out who's on Zoom right now. You'll see some faces that you recognize. And I want to thank you for taking time today to join us because you had a choice to spend your time on probably a bunch of different things. And I have got a email coming through now. So Laura, we'll see if it's you.
Yes, Gerald, it's coming through. Yep, just one more minute. And I need to post my LinkedIn here.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll do that on your behalf. I'll post in the chat right now so all of you can see Laura's LinkedIn profile. So I just put Laura's LinkedIn profile in the chat. Hello to those of you that have just joined us. I see there's a few people that have just joined us. Hello, Thomas Hall. Unfortunately, those slides have not come through yet. So I think what I'm going to do is do a breakout with the group to see if have everybody go into breakouts for networking. And we'll do the network. We'll do Laura's presentation after the first 15-minute networking event. And we'll see if we can get this all straightened out. So it's time to go into the first 15-minute breakout that we're going to have, and then we'll do the keynote speaker. After the first breakout, and we'll get our slides figured out. So I'm opening up the breakout rooms right now, and all of you are welcome to connect up with each other in breakout rooms and discuss artificial intelligence or whatever you'd like to talk about, including innovation. So enjoy the 15 minutes of networking now.
Recording stopped.
You need
Recording in progress.
Hey, guys.
Howdy doody time.
Hey, how are you?
I gotta repost my stuff again because I know this thing works. Always gotta start it new.
All right, yeah. Put my
At least
things
it
here.
keeps my name and my location there, thankfully. This is the first time I've been on this before, by the way. I've never been in this
Yeah,
group before at all.
yeah, same for me. This is my first time.
On top of the fact, I was like, did I make a mistake or am I supposed to be in here?
Yeah,
The
absolutely. It
delay
took
had
a
me misled.
while.
I'm like, you got a few more minutes because if not, I'm out.
Right. Ex
Patience did
exactly.
pay
I
off
thought,
because I was about to bail. I was like, I got better things I can do now.
well, maybe we could start by introducing ourselves and maybe I'll go first. How about that?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So I'm Coretta Dixon. I'm based in Chicago, Illinois. I am currently a organizational effectiveness and change management consultant, senior consultant. I've been in consulting for about 21 years. I spent the majority of my time in technology adoption and things like that, large business transformations. And right now, I am looking for my next opportunity. I created my own uh, practice as an independent contractor called Signature Impact Partners, where we specialize in AI change management because it really is more about the behavior shift versus the technology. Build it and they will come. I'm realizing that there are a lot of organizations that are losing funds on their investment, like, well, $10 million or so, depending on how large the investment is. And so my goal is to go into organizations and help them to realize their ROI out of their AI tool implementations and create the behavioral and cultural shift needed to realize that ROI and gain productivity.
Put your information in there in the chat. Oh, you already did. You're ahead of me. Aaliyah, is that how it's
Yes,
pronounced? Oh my gosh,
yes.
wow, I got it right the first time. Damn, I didn't expect that.
It's okay.
I think Latin in my head, forgive.
That's good. My name is Ali Khaled. I am in Houston, Texas. I am an engineer. I got my PhD in 2014 in electrical and computer engineering. Currently, I'm working as a data scientist, and my specialty is in medical imaging. So AI and machine learning in medical imaging. This is what I'm passionate about. I like building pipelines to facilitate neurologists' work and clinicians' works, and to get the medical imaging from raw imaging until they get analysis and results and insights for example, I worked in brain cancer, multiple sclerosis, ALS, osteoporosis. So this is my area, and I'm looking for my next opportunity as well. And I really like AI in general, but I'm really interested to be applying AI and machine learning in medical imaging. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I got students in here. I've been seasoned so long, over 2 decades, in the work of technology itself, and a conglomeration started last year to create this new business I did help find as Leo Global. Um, it has over 50 years experience. It does include the AI, which was introduced by Gerald earlier. However, what we're focused on is a lot of technology, the branding, the marketing for businesses. Sadly, the thing is we're not global yet because we're in infancy, if you will. Yet, my partner offshore, me here in Florida, in the States, and gosh, I can't believe it's been 3 decades I've been here in Florida. Unbelievable. And I've been in Chicago, by the way, Corette. I just haven't been there recently.
Oh,
So
awesome.
um, I know that the country has gone into complete chaos as it is, but I'm beginning to see things that are going to be improving. And with our innovative ideas that we have, as far as entrepreneurship, the businesses, the models we've got, directions we're taking is for more growth, expansion. It seems to me, and then probably echoing this like a choir song, if you will, that the corporate world is dying, hurting, and actually being diminished due to the fact that we're not putting up with it anymore. It's not on purpose. It's because of how it evolved itself. It became natural because the fact we're tired of being controlled, at least the way I've seen it, tired of being manipulated, as well as micromanaged. I've been micromanaged for too damn long. The last job I had 2 years ago, when they let me go over stupidity, they used statistics that actually were completely wrong compared to my statistics I found. I'm like, my supervision to where I'm seeing is not matching yours, and if you want to macromanage me, fine. And then at that point, they basically bailed me out. I'm like, wow, at least I could collect at least a few months of unemployment, which took some time there. It sucked, but I'm not totally down or out. It's just been more of a test that I discovered, which we probably have all seen. And the AI has been a leverage. I've taken advantage of that tool, learned from it, taught it as well. Gosh, 3, 4 years now, probably 5 years, been playing with it. And I've seen how it's now evolving, keeps on expanding. There are newer AIs that are coming into play into this AI family that does various approaches. It is replacing some jobs, but not all of them. The physical sides of construction and other physical directions still can't be replaced by AI, regardless of the automatons they're using for manufacturing, even for deliveries, things of that nature. We are still needed because the one thing I'm grateful that we have is creativity, inspiration, emotions. We do feel,
Mhm.
and we are empathetic as well as compassionate to each other, which is a big plus. And I leverage
Hi,
that in the writing
everybody.
side. Hey, Kareen. My eyes are messing with me. I thought I saw three R's and three N's. My bad. But yeah, with Leo Global, we do help to leverage the great deal of direction for businesses with marketing, branding, and exposure online side with social media, the websites themselves that we house ourselves in our own hosting location out of Dallas, Texas. And I am bilingual because I do speak Spanish and English, though I've been based here in Florida, so there's a lot of leverage in that direction. And just like everybody else, open to collaborate, perhaps even be of service from Leo. I'm not a Leo by by zodiac. I'm actually an Aquarius, but the compassion, all that actual passion I have is still there, and always ready to serve as well. And the information has already been seen in my chat or in the chat there. So whoever wants to go next, am I surrounded by women here or what? Because I like the ratio. It seems like I
One
am.
quick question.
Yeah.
One quick question for you. When is your birthday?
Oh, don't crash on me. Damn. Not now. Stupid thing. Can't believe it. Fantastic. Piece of crap.
And apologize, everyone. I was joking earlier with the team that I actually brushed my hair and put a makeup on to show my face here today, but here I am behind the blank screen. So apologize for that. happy to be here. As Carol mentioned, my name is Laura. I am based out of Chicago, where it's reasonably cold and snowy today. So hope you all having a good week so far. What I want to talk about today is, well, maybe a quick introduction. I'm officially like what I do day to day professionally now is I'm a founder and CEO of a company called LauraMax, where we are building a new operating system for enterprise value creation. I've spent close to 20 years in the corporate world as a consultant at PwC, doing a lot of tech advisory work. I've spent in like private equity backed environments to kind of unlock value within the businesses. And recently I was at Microsoft, where obviously was working on AI stuff. So essentially helping customers to unlock value through their AI investments. And left Microsoft to pursue this vision and idea of that I've probably had, I would say, for 7 years now. But it really finally, with all the new AI developments, it kind of fully it became a fully formed idea and a vision, and I'm now trying to build a company out of it. On a personal side, I'm a mother. I have a daughter who is in college, third year, computer engineering. I have 2 dogs, and what I teach my kid and is really kind of, which is my motto and the principle I live by, is that the secret of happiness is freedom, and the secret of freedom is courage. And I really invite everybody to operate in the world through courage and make decisions through courage and not fear, which unfortunately is the way to most people operate today. So really, just as we, if anything, if you don't take anything else out of this presentation, just please kind of think through kind of how do you operate? Are you operate through courage or fear? And I think courage always wins the day. All right, enough about me. Next slide. So as I was thinking, what is the topic I'm going to cover? And I know what I want to articulate to you guys, but I didn't know quite how to name it. What's the subject line item? And as and really this, one more slide back, if we can. Yeah, sorry. Yep. Yeah. And the subject line item that I came up with is where to go from here. I think it's fair to say that all of us collectively feel intuitively that there's something is changing. Like all of a sudden we got this new AI capabilities that came on the market. Everybody's trying to capitalize on those. We as individuals trying to catch up on the new skill sets. And it feels like after, 3 or almost 4 years now, we kind of like at this inflection point. And I think the solutions that we're going to build going forward and how we're going to navigate the next phase of this evolution, I think is going to matter more than anything up until this point. So, and that's where I want to say, okay, where do we go from here? So what's next for us? And I have an idea where we're going to go, but in order for me to get to that idea, I have to kind of take you back a little bit how I got to this point and the vision that I have, and which is really kind of take me on like 20 years of my career at big tech and consulting, which leads to the next slide. If I'm guessing most of you work in some sort of either corporate environment or small business, but you work in some business environment, right? You have something that you transact, you offer to the world. And if you were to look back, like 20 years ago, right, the way you conducted business is you had a computer, and maybe you had a one application or two, you likely had a Word or Excel. And today, if you open your computer, how many applications you have running on your computer? And I would say minimum 5. And if you're like a mid-sized business, like a mid-market business, they have up to 200 applications that they run and subscribe to as a business. So what we've seen over the last 20 years is what I call SaaSification of the enterprise, and really, software aid the enterprise. And as a kind of byproduct of that, we saw the emergence of these large tech companies, Google's, Microsoft's, and AWS's of the world, and that obviously create a tremendous value for themselves and obviously some of the eco participants, but they became kind of a very important partners for everybody involved. And what we've seen over the last, I would say 10 years, right? That they started to form these very competitive revenue sharing agreements with management consulting firms or consulting firms in general. So back in the days when I started at PwC, one of our value propositions used to be is that we're going to come in and we'll provide an independent point of view. You'll get an independent advice of what truly is going to matter in your business, so in the way that's going to move the needle for you. And over the course of like the decade, because of these increasing, importance of the tech and these tech companies and having these revenue sharing agreements, consulting firms can no longer say that, because now all of a sudden they have to actually kind of navigate their consulting engagements through the lens of like, how do I sell these big tech agreements, whether Microsoft Solutions or Google or whatever the case might be. So, and as a result, we've seen like the rise. The number is not really quite clear, but the one that I was able to find is that over $1 trillion in revenue sharing agreements that these companies have formulated, at least over the last few years. Like Microsoft alone has 400,000 partner ecosystem, which means like on mid-sized businesses that all they do, they go try to sell Microsoft into the businesses. And then we have new kids on the block, which is OpenAI and Anthropic, who are like teenagers probably thinking, oh my gosh, I'm definitely not going to go with these large tech companies. But they're kind of really don't have a choice because they need the distribution and they need the computing power. So they are also kind of creating these shared revenue and business models with these large incumbent firms. And in the case even on Anthropic is 100% of their revenue is actually going to spend on AWS. Okay, 100% of their revenue is going to AWS. So all of these companies that are creating value, tremendous value for themselves, what is happening on the other side? And the other side is the business. So the business folks who are supposed to receive that advice and receive the benefits and the technology and the value through the technology. What happens with those businesses, if you look at S&P 490, which is removing the max 7 from S&P 500 because they skew the numbers in a significant way. Basically, their earnings of those businesses have been flat since 2022. So how so, right? We have so much activity and so much innovation and so much revenue that gets shared and created by these large tech companies and the consulting firms. But then the folks who are on the receiving end on all those dynamics, they're actually not growing and they actually remain flat. So that is kind of a question of mine. And that's after, years that I've spent in the environment, I came with this like yucky feeling that maybe what we're doing in consulting and big tech is not really contributing to the bottom line and the value for the businesses. So next slide. Should do kind of a slower segue into the next slide. So I went and I looked a little bit into a double click on how much spend or in terms of how much revenue management consulting firms created over the last 5 years and how much enterprise value in terms of dollar value was created over those last 5 years. And so on the left side, there is, now it's from Perplexity, so AI hallucinates, but I think those are numbers somewhat accurate, is over the last 5 years across the large management consulting firms, they collected over $1 trillion in revenue, which means somebody had to spend that money for them to collect that revenue. So which means companies have spent over $1 trillion with management consulting. And then when we look at, okay, can we somehow correlate that to how much equity value was created across S&P 500, we would call equal weight TR, which is the one that does not have the max 7, because yet again, max 7 skews the numbers. And the value that was created was $844 billion. So now these are not kind of, if we really kind of inspect these numbers, these are not apple for apple, but just kind of give you a sense that, we spent, but we actually haven't got the money back as we would expect. Okay, next. By the way, are we here to ask questions, or can we engage? Anybody can ask if anybody has a question, maybe they want to speak up or not.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Karen.
Hi, Laura. So in the consulting world and the, you talked about $1 trillion spent in the United States. What areas is the most investment going in consulting world today?
So just to caveat about that. So when I see consulting is management consulting. So those are not like IT consulting per se. So I remove that. That number would be way bigger if we were to add pure IT consulting, which is the largest portion. So management consulting, think of it as, like McKinsey's, BCG's of the world, even these like smaller PwC and Deloitte's, but they're advisory arms of their businesses, not audit businesses. So this is more on pure like strategy advice. And the number one line item today is obviously AI, because that is also the largest line item on everybody's budgets. So that's what usually consulting firms go after.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, this is Rajiv. I just have like a quick comment that I love the language that you use by saying that you kind of like came from the Big Four and you had this yucky feeling. So I just like the choice of words that you use, because it's very fresh, and I think it kind of is very, it kind of like makes people comfortable, and it kind of cuts through the noise extremely well. So I just got to give you props in recognizing you for that. Well done.
Thanks for saying that. Yeah, back to the courage point. You have to be courageous to speak the truth, okay? Because that's the way to live. So, all right. So where we got to this point is what I'm trying to articulate is that, companies spend a lot on these consulting firms trying to get enterprise value. They're not quite getting that enterprise value. And then you have to go and ask why. I always say, when you're in doubt, always go ask smart people. And who is smarter than Charlie Munger? And Charlie Munger says, listen, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome.
I'll talk to you later, buddy. Much love. Bye, buds.
All right. Somebody needs to go on mute.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. All right. So what are the incentives? And so if you just think about it, if big tech, okay, so let's say you work for a company and you have somebody coming in from Microsoft, and what do you think are their incentives? Anybody wants to guess? So the incentive,
user or the supplier?
So let's say you are Microsoft's customer and Microsoft is coming and talking to you. What do you think are their incentives? That team that is talking to you, what the incentives they have as a team?
Well, the incentive is whatever the objective is, like the sales objective and the commission and the earning and the profit. Like that's typically what the incentive is, right?
That's correct. That's right. That's what I meant to say. So like in the big tech, their business model is twofold. One is it's protect the base. So the revenue that, because they are consumption-based business models, so they need that consumption that they're already collecting, they need to protect it, okay? So protect one, and then expand as the second objective. So they're there and really incentivize to make sure that you consume as much as possible of what you already bought, and then they're upselling to you. The big consulting firms, when they come to you and they talk to you, they're typically there to win their next gig because they are not in the recurring revenue business model. They have this non-recurring revenue business model, which means they constantly have to sell projects to make money. So they're out there walking the hallways trying to get the next project. And small tech and small consulting, they kind of do the same thing as big tech and big consulting, only kind of a smaller scale, so smaller carrot there. And so you're as a business operator, you're like, okay, so I have all these people running around trying to help me, supposedly, but none of them are incentivized to help me actually really truly build my company in the way that differentiates my product, differentiates my services, that I am actually competitive out there in the market, that my teams move fast. None of these firms out there actually have those incentives. And so we have incentive misalignment that is, I think, very, how do I say, detrimental to some of these business owners who are not quite really understanding, because it's very easy to be bought into when the large firms have talked to you that you think they're smarter than you. But you really have to double click on their incentive structures. All right, next slide. Oh, this is the last one, I think. Okay, yeah, let's backtrack. One more. One more? Yes, okay. So I think one more, next. Okay, so what does AI do to these existing market dynamics that we have? And really, AI just kind of amplifies what already is out there, and which is the firms are continuously to do more and more the revenue sharing amongst themselves. And we ended up with this circular AI economy. I always joke that for the last decade or so, everybody promised we're going to get to some sort of circular economy. But nobody envisioned that it's going to be this circular economy, which is these large AI firms buying each other's solutions. So on one side, you have all of them kind of contracting and making deals in the hopes of that they're essentially suppliers, right? And in the hopes that demand is going to show up. But in reality, if you look on the right side, which is the actual demand, if you look at where the large companies, meaning the customers of AI, the enterprises that would buy those AI solutions, their adoption of AI is trending down. They've experimented for a few years, and now they're decided, you know what, their capabilities are not quite there for me to really move the needle, or, I'm not ready, or whatever the case might be. It's going down. So we have this a very weird situation, and that's why we're at this inflection point where AI firms are really incentivized to make AI work. And then we have an enterprise that would be buying those solutions are saying, you know what, not so fast. So what is the next kind of natural thing for AI companies to do? And which is the next slide. All right. And what they've started doing, the AI houses, if anybody reads the Wall Street Journal or here, there was an article in Wall Street Journal recently about this company called Mercer. I think they say Mercer. So I'll say Mercer, but I could be wrong. So Mercer essentially is a company that put together by OpenAI, like primary investors are OpenAI and some other larger AI labs. And they're saying, you know what, go and get these domain experts, whether you like a domain expert in supply chain, a domain expert in real estate, construction. I see somebody, GR hosting. Okay, hosting solutions. So can you please come in and, hire those people for $92 an hour to teach our models, okay, of that particular domain expertise. So what's happening is that people are flocking to these solutions. They're, spending few hours of teaching these models. They get paid once, but these models get paid forever. Okay. So there's this kind of misaligned dynamic in the environment. And unfortunately, people are people. Somebody might be in the desperate situation where they really need the money, and they don't think about the second order effects of what they're doing. And the second order effect of what you're doing is actually you are diminishing your skill set. So like, 20 years that I've spent accumulated this knowledge, I'm going to go teach an AI model of all my skills and how to think through different nuances and situations. Like, okay, so I got paid once and like, that's it. Like what? So now anybody can have access to my domain expertise. That just doesn't sound fair. Okay. And it doesn't sound like business, advice I would give to myself. Like it's just silly. But anyway, that's where the trend is going, because now these AI platforms are hungry for domain expertise so that they can drive stickiness around them. Okay, so this leads to my next point, and maybe next slide. Well, maybe questions before next slide, or any commentary, or does this resonate, or has anybody heard of this company? Or maybe you guys have been selling your domain expertise and you're like, oh my God.
I know them. I know people who work for them, and they're reasonably happy about it. The demands of AI are changing because of such specification, and the training changes. But I agree with your basic premise. So keep going.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna echo what I heard JR say. Basically, I think, when you're talking about the circular economy and everything, I think it's kind of where mostly it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation, because on the one hand, we're only limited by our capacity to dream and then realize those dreams, right? So if we're thinking of AI in a very specific way right now, whatever's coming out is kind of looking to meet that need, right? So if we're thinking of AI as something that makes automation better, or scales automation, or is able to do its own almost sentient content creation. So if we're thinking of AI as performing those kind of functions, then great. Whatever we're seeing out there is a reflection, a mirror of whatever we think AI can do. And then of course, there are other B2B application and use cases as well, like whether the microtransactions and like the various trading floors, like whether it's Morgan Stanley or whoever is using it to have AI power its microtransactions that it's doing like every second whenever the stock market bell opens at 9 o'clock or whenever it opens. So I mean, I think what we're seeing is kind of like basically what people think AI can do, and then we're just seeing like manifestations of that. I mean, that's my view.
Rajiv, good to see you, bud. One last thing, the data centers are growing like crazy. And the reason they're growing like crazy is because demand for AI is just going to continue in its own weird way. I know that there's probably a little dip right now because it's going to be, how do you monetize it properly? And the monetization's kind of out of hand right now. If you pay $200 a month for Chat GPT, you're just not paying attention to what all the other AIs can do. But that's what marketing ends up being. It keeps rebalancing all the way through. But in general, yes, training your model is going to basically eventually put more people out of work. But AI is a collaborative structure. It doesn't work as well by itself. It can't do it. It will over-explain. It will mess up. It will make mistakes. It'll hallucinate. So it doesn't really work that well. Sorry. Okay.
So Joe, I think you have your hand up.
I did. I like being polite and considerate. Chivalry has not died even after 50 years for me. In any case, I have been confronted with or encountered with Mercor that tried to do, strangely enough, an interview with me, and it was AI based, first one I ever experienced for me. I think it was last month or December, to be honest. I can't remember what month it was, but either way, it did try to use a humanistic approach with it, with me, in order to be able to see if I matched with the role it was potentially hiring me for. I was testing it out. The pay rate was there, that pretty ideal, but the sad side was, and this came from LinkedIn, by the way, even though we're promoting our LinkedIn profiles, is that Mercor did not give me direct information. So yes, there are flaws. I've experienced this for the past 5 years playing with AI myself, and I am paying $20 a month for my ChatGPT. That's helped me in my business as far as technology, mostly for support, solving problems. And Mercor did fail, but gave me a direction. Talk to the recruiter. It was a referral. It was not recruiter. So I couldn't get to somebody from Mercor to find out about the position, but it did give me a link to look for other listed jobs there, which I found to be funny. So there were flaws, yes, but I saw that actually there was not going to be any movement even on this role, which cracked me up, and it was technically a remote role. So I really found it funny. I was like, well, this is either jocularity or an insult to my intelligence. One of the three.
Very well. Okay, so, but are they hiring you to work for them, or are they hiring you to teach the AI to do something?
I think it was more, that's a good question because the part that I think from recalling this was more for human interaction, remotely supporting than it was AI based itself. But I think AI did have some type of involvement in some manner. That's a very good question because it was too vague. It got a lot of description, but it seemed like more, am I doing IT support or what really is this taking me towards? Because the pay was phenomenal. I was like, I'm game for that, but what about like, pay time off, other benefits themselves wasn't even described. I was like, okay, you're missing the pieces of the puzzle. And then the description itself, it would seem to be more human support than it was for AI integration itself. But that's another interesting part because AI is mentioned can take place of VAs, other parts of administration itself, but when it comes to cleverness, direction as far as solving a problem, it has to be told. That's my experience. If the instruction's not given, it will know what the hell because it's not intuitive. It just knows from
Yeah.
prior experience, from what we interact.
Good point. One other thing is a lot of these jobs are like, can you tell me what the difference is between an apple and an apricot? Because they can't see it. That looks like a golden apple. That
It
looks
doesn't
like an
know vegetable to
apricot.
fruit
And you
to
go, this is
a
the
tree, man.
apricot
That's
and
right.
this is the apple.
Thank you.
AI, you're dumb. You're dumb.
What's the car
Okay,
and a
how
truck
about
difference?
this?
Yeah.
What's the difference? What's the difference between when, and when, or where, and where? Oh, you spell it like this if it's this. You spell it like that if it's that. Just screw you. I mean, it's just not that. It makes so many mistakes that it's just helping to shape it to make less mistakes. But it's still going to make mistakes because it doesn't think like just what you just said. It doesn't really. It needs the conceptual structure so it can work on it by looking up stuff that it can look at and then bringing it back to you, and then you have to go, wait, I don't need that, what are you doing? And you go, shut up over here, get rid of that, get rid of
I
this.
had experience from
Now
AI to tell you, JR, that one thing
yeah.
that AI does have, it's been programmed this way, of course, guidelines and ethics. And that's the part that really is strong, that I actually applaud the programmers from every corporation that's used AI and create AI, regardless of country, which is not the bearing. It's more about the structure of these tools. They do have guidelines and ethics, thankfully, because
Yeah,
people
yeah,
have
yeah.
tried to use it in a bad way. You can't hack with AI. Sorry. Ethically hacking, you can learn. Bad hacking or black hat hacking, not going to happen. Sorry, Laura, we're
Yeah,
dominating you.
it is cool, and I know people that are working on AI ethics right now with a bunch of PhDs behind them, and I'm not one of those PhD guys, trust me. But they're working on them. I get to be in the room when they're talking about it, and it's all about ethics because that's going to be how we get AI to actually make sense monetarily. Because if it's lying to you and you go down the wrong path, you lose money.
That's right. All right. Well, speaking of the money, so maybe we can progress to the next slide. So what I'm doing with this company that I've started, Laura Max, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. We call it ourselves Enterprise Value as a Service. But essentially, the idea is that we build a model that is actually, so let me step back. So essentially think of like, if you were to ever to have AI as a consultant. So the consultant that comes in and gives you an advice of where you should improve your business and how. So the model has baked in what we call enterprise value framework. It's kind of their mental model. It knows like what areas it should be looking at, how, like what's the numbers, how to calculate all that value and all that. So it has the mental model of enterprise value creation. That's at the center. But now for it to become smart, so it has a context, and the idea is that you want to build something that is truthful, meaning it learns over time what works in the business, what doesn't work in the business. So therefore it recommends what actually works. Because oftentimes consultants come in and they kind of have their own narratives and perceptions about things. And so it's not truth-based. It's based on just their own experience. So the idea is that you have a model that's grounded in absolute truth that is based on the context that it learned over time. Now, for it to become smart and to the point where useful for the businesses, is really we need a domain experts and so domain experts based on what is how we think about business value. And in our case, it would be a domain expert that is in sales, a domain expert that maybe knows supply chain, a domain expert that maybe knows procurement very well. And so it can go and it essentially kind of manages their engagements with the customer through the platform and tells the platform, no, doesn't work, this way works, this way doesn't work, so we can learn. And the idea is, as platform consumes your knowledge, that your input, your playbooks, whatever your experience that you have to provide for the platform, that you get like a dividends back, meaning it's like a revenue sharing agreement. So if remember when I talked about like platform provide, when Microsoft comes into you, these people are incentivized to make sure that Microsoft platform grows. So it's essentially the same way, making sure that this model and this platform grows, but the value is shared by just a bunch of individual consultants or people who are providing some sort of advice to the businesses. And instead of providing an input, getting paid, and platform taking it over and making reoccurring revenues, you actually get an ongoing basis. As the platform consumes your knowledge, it actually pays you dividends. So that's the idea. And on the business side, obviously we want to make sure you get your business insight instead of weeks that it takes to hire a consultant and get evaluated. You do that within hours, essentially, as long as you're willing to provide the data for the platform, and a bunch of other different benefits that I'm not going to bore you with. But what I'm trying to get to is there is a different way to actually build these solutions, and not in the way, let's say, that Mercor does. There is a way where we should all, if you're providing a valuable input into the platform, into AI model, you should get an ongoing return, okay, as that platform is consuming your knowledge that you provided. So the next slide is my final slide, and that's where I started, which is where do we go from here? We have two options. One, I go in and provide my knowledge to AI, and I get paid once and be happy because I need to pay bills today. Or I'm actually going to start thinking about how do I create solutions in the way that has a shared economic model amongst the participants for the ongoing basis, for that reoccurring revenue as you contribute your knowledge to the AI, which is a different way to think about a platform creation going forward. So I just, as you engage, where are you going? Be thoughtful of how you engage with those things, who is benefiting from them. So make sure we kind of build the future solutions that benefit us, okay? And not just a few model providers. Joe, go ahead.
Interesting how you actually, and this is where we go from here, because I have taken different directions even with my co-founding business that I started just last year, though my other business I've had for over 25 years is of the most intelligent way that I discovered, even from rich millionaires, billionaires, and so forth, is always having a fail-safe, which I think you might have mentioned earlier, is always having multiple streams of income, not just a single one to rely on, because if
That's
that
right.
fails, you're screwed. And having multiple streams is actually a more intelligent direction, even leveraging AI into it. I think this would be agreed upon if you support the idea.
Yep. No, I mean, exactly. So whatever you're doing, I'm seeing here, there is Coretta Dixon from Chicago. I'm from Chicago as well. And she is an org effectiveness and change management consultant. So in Coretta's case, she probably has a knowledge, playbooks, templates that she used with the customers that she would input into the platform. And as the platform consumes her playbooks, she would get a dividend. She would get money because the platform actually consumed it. Versus, her going and getting paid, let's say $100 an hour, and then providing that input once and then never, seeing the money again. That I think it's, like we have to be very careful because we live in a capitalistic environment where these platforms, if you allow them, they will capture all of your knowledge and all the benefits. So anyway, just food for thought as we where do we go from here? I think that ends my speech here. I'm
Thank you,
happy to connect.
Laura.
If anybody wants to connect on LinkedIn, I'm very open. And so thank you guys for listening.
And Laura, I put your link in the chat for everybody to be able to connect up with you and join you on LinkedIn. And also check out lauramax.com, where you'll find Laura's new website.
Great, thank you.
We have a large group of people with us, and we go into breakouts for 15 minutes with small groups. And so we had one breakout already, then we had Laura speak. And I want to say hello to some of you that have joined us during the past hour. And we have our monthly speed networking on Zoom that we do every month on the first Wednesday of the month and talk about AI and other topics. And we have artificial intelligence is a big interest. I put in the chat a link to our AI group on LinkedIn with over 1 million members. And it's got designated as a very active group by LinkedIn. And I have formed some new groups now and new rooms, I should say, for your groups to get together and network for 15 minutes to talk about artificial intelligence, innovation, marketing, whatever you'd like to talk about. Take the opportunity to get to know people. I'm opening the rooms now. You simply need to accept my invitation.
This thing isn't cracked again. Nice crash, piece of shit.